Hi, so I've had a lot of questions from friends and family about how much it cost, how I went about building the van. And I just thought I'd drop down in a quick video, just kind of the outline of that. And if it helps anyone, great. If anyone has any questions, please drop me a message. More than happy to offer whatever advice and help that I can. So I guess if we start off with the van itself. So this is a 2019 Peugeot Boxer. It's an L3H2, so it's a long wheelbase. We got a black van. Really pleased with the colour. That's been one of the coolest things, I think. Just makes it look a bit different. We bought the van from JL Vans in Warrington. This is not a sponsored video, but they were fantastic. I have to say, big shout out to them. If you're looking to buy a van for a conversion, definitely worth a visit, wherever you are in the country. They have huge stocks. It pretty much all seems to be ex-lease fleets. And the one that we picked up was 26,000 miles, genuine miles as well. And I'll explain how I sort of checked that out. They were just so friendly. A lot of the people that they have working for them already are owners of or converters of campervans, so they kind of get it. I mean, they sell to, you know, builders and everybody else as well, but they were really helpful, made me feel very much at ease during the whole process. No hard selling. They just left me to it, gave me the keys on a few of the vans. I had a good old, walk round. If there were any marks or dents or anything like that, they took care of it before they handed over the van. So yeah, the mileage, 26,000. Now there's a few things that you can do to kind of mitigate. I won't say completely prevent yourself from getting scammed on the mileage, but definitely there are things that you can do. So some of the obvious ones. If a van says 26,000 miles on the clock and the steering wheel is worn down to a nub, it's probably not 26,000 miles. It's probably significantly more than that. The same with the wear on the pedals. The driver's seat can go soft on one side, on the door side, over a long period. So again, just things to look out for. But the big one for me was, and I didn't know this, to be honest. I kind of found this out shortly before getting the van, and it's something you can check that I don't think a lot of people do check, and that is tyres have dates on. So if this is a 2019 van and it's done 26,000 miles, it's more than likely still on the original tyres, or it's only just recently changed the tyres. And as it happened, all four tyres on the van were still the original 2019 tyres. So that was a big tick in the box. I could see that would make some sense with the mileage. The next thing was, I found out that the van itself used to be a maintenance van for a housing association. Now, if you've ever sort of operated in that world of social housing, they'll have their own maintenance teams, and these vans only drive around the estates, so they're not putting huge mileage on. So 26,000 on a 2019 is a pretty normal sort of mileage use case. So the platform, the van itself, has been fantastic. I've had no mechanical problems. Starts like a dream, drives like a dream. Really pleased with that. The van itself was £14,500 ex VAT. When you added the VAT on, it was around 18,000. Now that's quite a lot. Some people will choose to, pay a lot less for the van, and that's absolutely fine. And I get that. I was in a position where I was fortunate enough to be able to really try and maximise the platform that the build was going to be done on. So I wanted to make sure it was a good van, and we've managed to do that. The conversion itself, so anybody who's done this will know that you have your spreadsheet, you have a budget, and very quickly that all goes out the window. I set aside 5,000 for the conversion itself. I've definitely spent more than that. And I could definitely have done it a lot better. And towards the end of the video, I'll explain just some of the simple things that I really should have done differently. But that being said, we got it done very quickly. The whole build was done within 3 months. And we're absolutely delighted, absolutely delighted. So the things I kind of got wrong on the budgeting, the big one was I used B&Q for everything. Now, I know they're not the cheapest. I know they don't have the best range sometimes, particularly when you're looking for timber during the build. But it was just convenience. But let me tell you, you really do pay for that convenience. If I'd gone to a builder's timber yard, I would, without a doubt, have spent 50% less on the timber used in the build. And I really did underestimate how much the timber would cost during the build. So if you're starting out, that is my number one piece of advice, is don't be afraid to go to a builder's yard, someone that is purely selling timber to the trade. They're not monsters. They'll help you out and you'll get a good deal and it will save you a fortune. The second thing was just things like screws, you know, the fixings, Sikaflex, things like that. You don't realise how much of that you go through as well. So that was also pretty surprising. All of the big jobs, pretty straightforward. You know, there was no drama. The electrics, I'll do a separate video on that, but I didn't go down the traditional route of, you know, Renogy Victron with the inverters and leisure batteries and all that. I went down the power station route with the Apex 300 from Bluetti. Really impressed with that piece of kit, particularly for our use case. So we are using the van as a day van. We're using the van for the occasional 1, 2, 3 nights away over weekends, but we will be pushing out into Europe later on. And I am convinced that the setup that we've got now with the solar, with the Bluetti, with the electric hookup, we should be fine. We'll probably need to stick to campsites, but maybe the occasional wild camp we can probably do a couple of days off grid comfortably in good weather. The plumbing, again, if you're scared of doing the plumbing, don't be. My only advice to you is when you come to do the plumbing, get yourself the John Guest fittings. Now, I've done a bit of plumbing in the past in houses, and generally, if you're using push fit, they can be a bit hit and miss. The John Guest ones are excellent. I plumbed everything in, turned the water on, not a single leak. I was really impressed. As long as you're doing it in the right way, I would definitely recommend. Don't try and get cheap imitations. I've also learned you buy cheap, you pay twice on these builds as well. So the plumbing and electrics, they were just one-day jobs each, apart from the wiring earlier on in the build. But the actual second fix, you know, putting in the pump, the accumulator, the switches, that was all done very quickly. The other thing we're really pleased with is, and a lot of people won't do this, and I understand why, we went for an IKEA kitchen. So we have a pull-out larder, sort of 300 mil pull-out larder. We have 3 sets of drawers, and we've got a large 600 mil cupboard under the sink, and then we've got a flip-up extra piece of worktop space as well. I get it. It can be expensive. It can be heavy too, but it's something that we were really keen to do as part of the build. So, you know, we've chosen to do that. I certainly don't judge anybody for building their own. Again, there's pros and cons. If you build your own, you get exactly, you know, what the way you want it. So I get that. But yeah, so this is really just me babbling on, just giving you a little bit of background in terms of, you know, the costings and you know, the kind of things that we went for. The time frame for the build, I did this within 3 months. That was weekends, well, it was every weekend, weather permitting. It was evenings, weather permitting. And then I did plan to take an entire week off work just solely to focus on the van. That actually didn't work out because I picked a week where the weather was awful. So I probably only got 25% done that I was going to get done. But that being said, within 3 months to have the van completed to, I would say, 99%. I don't think they're ever fully completed. You're always going to be tinkering with things. But I think that's, I'm really impressed that we got it turned around so quickly. We went to Kip and Nook up in Darlington. Check it out. It's a really great campsite. It's on the kind of more expensive end. We wanted somewhere with lots of facilities, just because it was our first trip and we didn't want anything to go wrong. And if it did go wrong, at least we had the facilities. But we had a fabulous time. It was wonderful. We've got a video coming out on that. Unfortunately, I corrupted some of the content, so it's not going to be as long as we'd hoped. But yeah, check that out when it comes out. I'm sure you'll really enjoy seeing sort of the quality of Kip and Nook up in Darlington. And that's it. So if you have any questions, I'm really keen to make this interactive. So if you want to drop me a message, comment, then please do so. I'm not an expert, but I'll certainly give you my point of view from actually having built a van myself. Thank you. Bye-bye.